Is hot. We are live with another one, guys. We're live with another one. Welcome to the channel. This is OE MMA TV. I'm your host, OE. Like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Like I always say, it takes minimal effort to give me the thumbs up, so you might as well do it. Thank you for supporting independent MMA media, guys. This is your channel, the only channel where the fans come first, not last. Let's go right into the topic of discussion, guys, and that's pretty much nothing. Okay, I don't have any topic of discussion today. So today it's just a free for all. Okay, it is literally a free for all right now. We don't have a UFC event this Saturday. Okay, there is no UFC event, but the next UFC event after this weekend is a heavyweight bout against Lewis versus Teixeira. Teixeira is an up and comer. Okay, trying to bring some momentum into this heavyweight division. This heavyweight division that's in shambles after John Jones gets into another car crash and leaves the scene, calls the UFC and Dana White's, retires, relinquish the heavyweight title, making Tom Aspinall the longest reigning interim title holder, and now the current heavyweight champion in Tom Aspinall. The heavyweight division is in shambles. There's no event this weekend. Next weekend, we got Lewis versus Teixeira. And hopefully something exciting happens in this fight. I like Lewis. I like Derek Lewis. I really do. He's been around for a very long time. I believe he's ranked on the top 10. I believe he's ranked probably like 10th right now. Derek Lewis has done phenomenal things. He really has. You know what I mean? When you look at it, all the phenomenal bouts that Derek Lewis has had, I'm a fan of Derek Lewis. I really am. I'm a fan of Derek Lewis. He always makes the fights fun. It's always exciting to watch him. Don't get me wrong. Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou was definitely, they both laid an egg. But besides that, Derek Lewis always goes in there and he bangs it out, and it's either he gets knocked out or he knocks out someone. So it should be an exciting fight. It should be a barn burner. Like I said, Teixeira, he's an up and comer. Getting some finishes in that heavyweight division, but again, there's really nothing. Sorry about that, guys. There's really nothing exciting in the heavyweight division right now. Hello, how you doing? How are you doing? Welcome to the chat, guys. If you're new to the channel, like and subscribe. All right. It takes minimal effort to give me the thumbs up, so you might as well do it, guys. I really appreciate you guys supporting independent MMA media. And like I always say, this is your channel, guys. All right. I'm just the pilot. And this is the only channel where the fans come first, not last. All right. I like your minion. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. I got Squid Games right there. I got Dragon Ball Z. I got some Lord of the Rings, some more Dragon Ball Z there. I got SpongeBob. I got Minion. Wait. Oh, you can't see SpongeBob, but yeah, he's there somewhere. SpongeBob is there. He's all covered up, unfortunately. But yeah, I got all of them. I got all the guys, got the gang behind me. They supported me just as hard as you guys are supporting this channel. Okay? MMA is the best. I hear you, man. I hear you. MMA is the best. Unfortunately, right now, we are on the downfall when it comes to the UFC, especially if you look at the stats and the statistics of the trajectory of mixed martial arts in general around the world. And right now, we're headed towards a downward spiral when it comes to mixed martial arts around the world. Unfortunately, there's been less bouts around the world, less televised events of mixed martial arts. So I don't know. I don't know what's about to happen right now, because overall, the UFC is very popular. You know what I mean? They're booming. You know what I mean? But when it comes to the actual fan base and the hardcore fan base, I think those are dissipating, to be honest. You think Patty will fight Topuria? Alpha, I honestly, look, man, that is not the fight to make, guys. If I had to give my honest opinion, Alpha, I mean, look, I I like the idea of Paddy the Baddy fighting Ilya Taporia. There's history there. There's a video of them fighting, you know, getting into an altercation. I would love to see that fight, especially with the built-in momentum. You know what I mean? But in my opinion, man, I'm just being honest right now. Uh, the UFC is doing a disservice to their fighters. I mean, look at Mozar. Mozar is deserving of going against Volk, and he's not getting the title shot. He has to fight one more time against a person that wasn't even in the UFC, just got signed to the UFC, and now they're giving this opportunity to this guy. It's absurd, man. It's absurd. So when it comes to Paddy the Baddy, I hope he doesn't get the title shot right away. I hope Ilya Taporia actually does fight Arman, because that's the fight to make, man. Arman is the best lightweight right now. Okay, there's nobody else, in my opinion, that is better than Arman right now. Okay, and that is point blank, period. Charles Oliveira should have never gotten the title shot against Ilya Taporia. All due respect, I like Charles Oliveira, but it should have been Arman in that position. Okay, so the fight that they need to make is Arman versus Ilya Taporia. Whatever happens after that, Paddy the Baddy should definitely get the shot. However, Justin Gaethje and Paddy the Baddy is actually rumored to be booked for UFC 319. So we shall see how this whole debacle unfolds, guys. But that's a good question, Alpha. I really appreciate you. Stay on the chat, like and subscribe. I appreciate you. Good question. Bro, got so awesome toys. Better toys than I got. Man, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, I'm a huge collector. You know what I mean? I actually got new ones right now. Look, check this out. Hold on. Hold on. I don't want the guys to fall here. Oh, damn. Don't fall, please. Hold on. Please don't fall. Shit. Don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, I got a new guy right here. It's Piccolo. You know, is young Piccolo. Got a little fitted on him. You know what I mean? He got a little fitted on him. He got it backwards like I do. I like to put it forward on him because he looks like a G. But you know what? I'll put it backwards on him. He looks like even a more G. But that's Piccolo right there. For those of you who are fans of Dragon Ball Z, there he is. There he is. He's a new addition to the crew. Okay. Put him back where he belongs with his crew. But yeah, guys, you already know what it is. Let me read some of these comments. How is your day going? My day is going great. Calistine, it's going great. I cannot complain. I'm glad you guys are here on the chat. You know what I mean? Bantering with me. This is what I need in my life. You know what I mean? I need more of bantering, more communication when it comes to this channel. And like I always say, guys, I appreciate you guys. I really do. I hope you guys know from the bottom of my corazón, from the bottom of my heart, I literally appreciate each and every one of you. This channel is growing. Look, guys, the goal for 2025 was to reach 500 subscribers, and we surpassed that literally halfway through the year. So I know for a fact this channel is going to reach, heights that I can't even imagine. And it's because of you guys, honestly. So let's keep pushing this channel. I really appreciate you guys, and I want you to know that. Let me read some of these chats here. Alexis says hi. How you doing, Alexis? Welcome to the chat. If you're new to the channel, like and subscribe, guys. Okay, but welcome. Aran became a fan of Arman since I saw him stand his own against Islam at the young age. Like, whoa, Arvan, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I really do. That fight against Islam and Arman should have been rebooked. It should have been rebooked, but unfortunately, the UFC, you know how they always proceed. They always move forward. You know what I mean? So when it comes to Arman, I'm a huge fan of him. You know what I mean? He's definitely deserving of a title shot, and hopefully he does get that title shot before Paddy, because if he doesn't, that is ridiculous. All right, the UFC, I mean, but the UFC they've been known to, pull these moves. So I'm not going to be surprised if Paddy the Baddy gets the next shot. Nice. Yes, Alexis. I sub. Thank you so much, Alexis. I really appreciate you, man. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for supporting independent MMA media. And you and everybody else in this community is the reason why, independent media is actually taking over. So I really appreciate you. I subbed and liked. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Calistine. Excuse me. I really appreciate you. But, when it comes to the UFC, I mean, guys, wouldn't it be a great idea to eventually, I'm I'm not saying right now, okay? But after the Armin and Ilia Topuria fight, wouldn't it be something to have the Ultimate Fighter revived? I mean, guys, I used to watch the Ultimate Fighter show. I used to watch that show religiously. It used to be free on Spike TV. So that's the reason why I was so, I gravitated towards it because it was electric. Literally every episode of the Ultimate Fighter was electric, interesting, exciting, entertaining. Every word you could come up with, all right, to get viewers. I'm telling you, that show was epic. And now, watching the show right now with DC and Chael Sonnen, all due respect, guys, I like those guys. I really do. But those are not the guys that are needle movers to revive the Ultimate Fighter. I'm sorry. So I honestly think they need to get a guy like Ilia Topuria on that show. They need to get Ilia Topuria on that show, not only to promote himself and the division, but to also revive and promote the Ultimate Fighter. So imagine if we have Ilia Topuria and Paddy the Baddy as coaches on the Ultimate Fighter. How epic would that be? You know how many viewers would be entertained to watch this daily, weekly? Guys, we need to see this. We really need to see this. The UFC needs to call me up, okay? And we really need to negotiate, how we're going to move forward, with the perspectives of the fans. Because right now, the UFC is not, they're not doing anything for the fans. Honestly, they're just doing everything for the bottom dollar. And it's a sad story. Let me read some of these comments here. You think Armin beats Ilia and how? Arvan, yes, I do think Armin beats Ilia. And the reason why I do think Armin beats Ilia is because Armin is a great overall mixed martial arts fighter. Okay. We've seen this guy strike with some of the best strikers. Okay. We've seen this guy wrestle with some of the best wrestlers. Okay. He's held his own with some of the best, especially when you watch that fight against Islam early in his career. Okay. And let's not forget the fight that he had against Charles Oliveira. Pure domination. Don't get me wrong, it was a close fight, but Armin did pull it off on the last round in the third round. Okay, so when it comes to Armin, I think he's going to be able to withstand Ilia Topuria's power punches. Okay, and not only that, but I also think Armin is the bigger guy coming into this fight. So if he's able to close the distance and get a hold of Ilia Topuria, I do see Ilia Topuria being taken down and taken advantage of Armin. Armin is a big guy. That guy walks around almost at, if not 200 pounds. You know what I mean? So Armin, I see him winning any which way he wants. If he wants to strike with Ilia, I see him holding his own against Ilia in the striking. And I do see him holding his own in the wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, to be honest. Okay, he's held his own against Islam Makhachev when he wasn't even as experienced as he is now. So what makes you think he can't take advantage of a guy like Ilia Topuria? Don't go, all due respect. But Charles Oliveira is 35, turning 36 years old, okay, past his prime. Okay? Point blank, period. Let me read some of these comments. I remember watching the first season on Spike with Chuck and Randy. Alpha, oh my God. Give a round of applause. Give a round of applause for Alpha, because we finally have somebody on the chat who actually can relate to me, because I've been watching this sport since 2003, guys. I literally been watching this sport since 2003, and I got a chance to watch the Ultimate Fighter, the very first season with Forrest Griffin and all those guys. You know what I mean? Kenny Florian. You know what I mean? Ton of people, man. A ton of great fighters on there. You know what I mean? Stephan Bonner. I mean, guys, that season was epic. And the only way you're going to revive that show is if you bring, you know what I mean, some exciting fighters onto the show. And unfortunately, right now, that show is dying, man. That show is slowly dying. If not, it's already dead. Okay? And that is fucking facts. And it's a sad story, because I'm not going to lie to you. That show was that was a topic that me and my friends talked about every time the show would come on. We would literally talk to each other on the phone, like, yo, did you watch the show? Oh my God, did you watch this and this and that? Yo, Stephan Bonner. Oh, Forrest Griffin. Oh, the crippler. Did you watch? You know what I mean? That whole debacle with it. I mean, there was always something to talk about when it comes to that first season of Ultimate Fighter, and unfortunately, there's nothing to talk about now. The only thing to talk about, when it comes to the Ultimate Fighter, is everything that has to do with negativity. Okay. Um, Alexis, what's up, Alexis? I like that little guy you got there. That's pretty awesome. Man, but guys, look. I would love to work for the UFC. I'm just being honest. I would love to work for the UFC. I would love to, talk to Dana White, sit down with him, have a conversation with him, and talk about how, we can move forward with the UFC and how can we make, this sport exciting again? Because right now, I'm talking to a lot of my friends, and a lot of my friends are checked out. They're just as checked out as Dana White. Honestly, I talked to them. I'd be like, "Hey, did you watch this event?" No, I didn't watch it. I didn't even bother with it. I mean, nothing on that card was exciting. That's literally what I hear from people who literally been watching the sport as long as I have, and it just shows me that the UFC is on a downhill trajectory. And I understand, guys, that the UFC is at its most, like it's at its height. It's so popular. So many people know about UFC and the mixed martial arts in general. But I'm talking about the hardcore fans, man. The hardcore fans are those people who are going to make the difference. Okay? And in my opinion, those hardcore fans are slowly checking out because the product that the UFC is giving us is subpar. When you got the head of the snake checked out in Dana White, I mean, that says it all, guys. That says it all. It really does. Let me see. I am friends with Dana. I can get you a job. Calistine, that's awesome, man. You know what I mean? Call me up. Tell Dana, you know what I mean? Come on my channel. I don't have a huge following. You know what I mean? I really don't. But I do my thing. I am very knowledgeable when it comes to the UFC and mixed martial arts in general. So if I could get in, on the phone, on the telly with Dana White and just pick his brain apart and ask him some important questions. The first question that I will ask Dana White, like I said before, is who's making these decisions? That's the first question that I'm asked. Straight up, Dana, who's making these decisions? The second question would be, okay, now that we know who's making these decisions, who is the person who's okaying these decisions to follow through? Because that's the second question I would ask Dana White. Okay, and then the third question would be, well, Dana, how can we move forward, you know what I mean, to change the perspective of the fans? Because right now, I've talked to multiple people, and they're I'm telling you, man, they're checked out. Nothing is exciting. 2025 has been a letdown if we're talking about overall. Overall, 2025 has been a letdown, guys. So many cards have been in shambles. The whole debacle with the heavyweight division and Jon Jones. Multiple title shots that were undeserving. Sean O'Malley taking a year and a half hiatus, coming back, into title contention and fighting Merab and getting finished in the second round by, you know what I mean? It shows that the UFC, they're just doing everything for their bottom dollar. So I would love to get on the telly with Dana White and pick his brain apart, and ask him these necessary questions. Because I represent the fans. That's what I think. I represent the fans, and in order to move forward, I think the UFC needs to do their due diligence in knowing what the fans want. And unfortunately, there's nobody in that freaking organization that knows what the fans want. Honestly. You saw the pound for pound rank list. What do you think about it? They put Topuria over Islam. Look, guys, I made a video about this. Okay, I made a video about this. Okay, not too long ago, and I made my pound for pound list. You know what I mean? I do not think Ilia Topuria is number one ranked pound for pound. I do not think that. How is he number one? How is he number one ranked pound for pound in Ilia Topuria when Islam Makhachev already beat Charles Oliveira when he was in his prime. Ilia Topuria is basically fighting sloppy seconds and being crowned number one pound for pound. How the fuck does that make sense, guys? How? He's fighting sloppy seconds. I'm sorry. In my opinion, and I know this, I've had multiple people already contact me telling me that I'm crazy, but how am I crazy? Go read this man's resume. Multiple champions. This guy has beaten more champions than anybody on that pound for pound list, my guy. I'm sorry. The number one guy right now is someone that nobody likes and nobody's talking about. It's Merab, guys. The number one pound for pound guy is Merab. I'm sorry. And then the number two ranked pound for pound is Islam. The reason why I say the number one pound for pound is Merab, and he should get all the respect from the mixed martial arts community is because he's fought everybody that the UFC has put in front of him in his division. Okay? Including an undefeated fighter who was supposed to beat Merab and defeated him without even sweating. Merab is the number one pound for pound ranked. He's fought everybody in his division respectively. Islam has fought people outside of his division and found success. Okay? Number third ranked is Ilia Topuria. Number one is Merab. Number two is Islam. And number three is Ilia Topuria. I'm sorry, that's my list. I don't give a shit who. If you don't agree with me, it's okay. But that's my list. The pound for pound list has always been just confusing since the very beginning. Okay? How about OKC, though, huh? Here we are talking about mixed martial arts in the UFC, and somebody on the chat, Handhouse, comes along and starts talking about basketball, something that has nothing to do with the UFC and the sport of mixed martial arts. Look, Handhouse, you want to bring up the Thunder, the Oklahoma Thunder? Let me ask you a question. When is the last time you actually watched the Oklahoma Thunder game? Let me ask you another question. When is the last time you actually went to Oklahoma? There's nothing exciting in Oklahoma, my guy. I didn't watch the finals. I have yet to talk to a person that actually watched the finals. Okay? The finals was a letdown, point blank period. Okay? So when it comes to basketball and the Oklahoma Thunder, who gives a shit? I don't give a shit about the small market teams. Who does? Okay? The only people that cares about the small market teams is the NBA. That's the only people that actually care about the small market teams. It's all about the Knicks. I'm sorry. Okay? And next year, well, not even next year, but this year, coming up, September, the New York Knicks are the team to beat. Point blank, period, factual. Jason 9, back to the chat. What's going on, Jason 9? He says, Jason 9 says, for real, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, my guy. You know, when it comes to the pound for pound list, it's always been confusing since the very beginning of its a creation. You know what I mean? It really has. You know, so for me, Merab is number one, Islam number two, Ilia Topuria number three. That makes sense to me. Okay, that makes a lot of sense to me. Point blank, period. All right, guys, like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. It takes minimal effort to give me the thumbs up, so you might as well do it. Thank you for supporting independent MMA media, guys. The only channel where the fans come first, not last, because this is your channel. I'm just a pilot, all right? I got to go. Alexis, that's what's up. Thank you for coming to the chat. I really appreciate you. This is your home. Come and go as you please. You already know. Have a good one. All right? Blessings to you and your family. But yeah, guys, I mean, what are you guys excited for? Let me know on chat. What are you guys excited for this July? I understand Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier are the next fight, the next pay-per-view fight that's happening in July. But I mean, guys, I'm not excited. I'm not excited to watch that one. I'm really not. I already mentioned it in my past lives. I'm not excited to watch Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier. I think the fight to make was Max Holloway versus Dan Hooker. That was the fight to make, and the UFC has failed once again. And in my opinion, Dustin Poirier could have fought anybody. He could have fought a fucking dead body for all that matters, because Dustin Poirier is retiring, guys. He's not fighting after this fight. So why fight a guy like Max Holloway who's trying to make way into that lightweight strap? It just makes no sense, guys. It really don't. It just doesn't make any sense. The UFC, they just keep making moves that don't make sense. Honestly, that's the reason why I want to have a conversation with Dana White and the UFC to find out, if we could fix things. You know what I mean? We need to really fix a lot of things right now. You know what I mean? Like I said, 2025 has been a letdown. Has been a huge letdown. Okay. I'm really nervous. You know what I mean? If I had to give my honest opinion, I'm really nervous. I'm really right now I'm standing on like the cup is half empty type of personality right now when it comes to UFC. Honestly, because the more and more I watch these pay-per-views and the more and more I watch these UFC fight nights, the more and more it makes it makes it clear to me that the UFC, they're rebranding the way the way they roll out these pay-per-views and these UFC fight nights. And the reason, and what I mean by they changing the rollout, is because back in the day, guys, UFC fight nights and pay-per-views, especially pay-per-views, they were stacked top to bottom. There was never like a person talking about, oh my god, like the main event and the co-main event are the best fights on the card, and every other fight sucks. There was never that type of conversation ever back in the day. About 8 to 10 years ago, there was never a conversation about that. The UFC was doing their due diligence back in the day because they knew back in the day that they needed to do their due diligence to bring in viewers and bring in fans. So there was no way back then they were going to give us a shitty card. But now that the UFC has catapulted into this new, height, it's sort of like they're like, you know what? They're buying the tickets. They're paying for the pay-per-views. They're buying the merch. We're making more money than we ever have. So fuck it. Now this is where we wanted to be. This is the position where we wanted to be, where, we can make these UFC fight cards like boxing events, where everybody's got to wait for the main event and the co-main event, because everybody else on the card, you either don't know their name or they suck. They're on a losing streak. A 1-3, record, 1-3 record in the last 4. That's literally what the UFC is doing to us. And it's a sad story, man, because if it continues going this trajectory, I'm telling you, the UFC is going to start going on a downhill spiral. I guarantee it, guys. And that's the last thing that I want to see, and the last thing that mixed martial arts in general needs. UFC is whack now. It's so corny. Benito, look, man, I love the UFC. I'm a fan of the UFC. I want to see the UFC propelled to, just crazy heights. But unfortunately, right now, the product that they're giving us is just not even subpar. And I have to be the person out here, screaming it out. I really do. I think it's my job to be out here, calling out the UFC and Dana White and telling them that the product that they're giving us is subpar. You have to do something. You have to. Because every which way I look, the UFC just looks in shambles. I'm just being honest. We all do, brother. They gotta go to Pride route. The Pride route. It's so lame. It's boring. A lot of people are saying that. A lot of people are saying that when they watch UFC events, it's boring. There's nothing exciting about the event in general. You know what I mean? It's almost as if they're watching. They watch for a little bit and then they go for a bathroom break. You know what I mean? It's atrocious, guys. It's atrocious. It really is. I like I said, man, I would love to get on the telly and talk to Dana White. I really would, because I really don't know what's going on. I really don't know what's going on. The UFC, they're failing. They're failing. They're failing their fans. They really are. Bro, watch Pride FC live from 2004. Look, man, I watch Pride. I watched Pride. You kidding me right now? I watched Pride, man. All those fights were exciting. All those fights were exciting, man. They had some crazy fights on there, and I understand, a lot of those fighters were on, particular drugs, but I don't care, man. The fights were exciting, the events were exciting, and they gave us exciting fights, and that was very intriguing. When that song comes on, that introduction, oh man, that changes everything. That changes everything. It does. It really does. Dana is depressed because Jon Jones is leaving. Jason 9, I mean, why? Why is he depressed about Jon Jones leaving, my guy? I mean, Jon Jones he's already old. Jon Jones is like 37 years old. Like, I mean, it's about time he walked away. I'm happy that he walked away. I already said this on my past videos. I think Jon Jones should have walked away in Madison Square Garden after beating the dead body of Stipe Miocic. Okay? So Dana White shouldn't be sad or mad about Jon Jones leaving. He should be happy. Because finally, we actually have answers to the heavyweight division. Even though it's in shambles, at least it's clear. You know what I mean? At least things aren't murky. That was the spirit. That was amazing. I've seen people crying at Pride events, thousands. Let me tell you something, man. That crowd was different as well. That crowd was very knowledgeable. It's not like the U.S. The U.S. crowd where you got a bunch of belligerent son of a bitches out there drinking beer and getting fights with man. You know what I mean? Somebody next to them. We actually have civil people who actually like watching mixed martial arts and actually know what they're, watching. That crowd in Pride FC was totally different. Totally different from what the UFC has. That crowd, that UFC crowd is the reason why I actually don't even go to the UFC events. It's because I would hate to go to a UFC event and then not being able to relate to the fans because I'm a fan in general. Okay, so if the fans leave a bad taste in my mouth, I don't know what I might do. Okay, there might be a massacre right in the arena. You know what I mean? Because I'm having a bad day. I don't know if you understand what it means to see people crying just watching fights, and many were not fight fans. Most likely, the reason why they were crying is because they weren't fight fans, but they were fans of the fighter. I've seen so many people who are fans of the fighter, and when the fighter loses, they start crying and they get emotional because they were so invested in that fighter. I watched this so many times, so I understand. Trust me. Pride producers, promoters were best of the time. They directed traffic into the stadium was real smart. Bonito, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. Pride FC has some things, you know what I mean, that the UFC definitely did not have. Pride FC was cooking back in the day. I tell you that much. They definitely were. I'm crying just thinking about it. Japan was amazing, man. I would have loved to go to an event in Japan and watch a Pride fight. That would have been amazing. That would have been something that I would have held near and dear, close to my heart, to be real. Mars back on the chat, making his appearance. Mars, that is 3 times. 3 times in 1 week where you made your appearance. I really appreciate you, Mars. Thank you for making your appearance. Once again, I didn't even have to put out an APB for your ass, and you're actually here on my chat. I appreciate you, Mars. Welcome back to your home. All right? Like and subscribe if you are new to the channel, guys. It takes minimal effort to give me the thumbs up, so you might as well do it. Thank you for supporting independent MMA media, the only channel where the fans come first, not last. All right? Thank you, Mars, for making your appearance. Back to back, baby. All right. There's really no topic of discussion right now, Mars. Right now, we're just talking specifics when it comes to, whatever you want to talk about. Right now, we were talking about Pride FC and how epic, that era was to the mixed martial arts community, and just the downfall that, UFC is headed. When Kevin Randleman almost beat Fedor, our great warrior Dan Henderson got it back for Kevin. Yeah, he did, man. He definitely did, man. Man, Fedor Emelianenko, what a great fighter, huh? His time at Pride FC was epic. I would have wished to watch Randy Couture versus Fedor. That would have been an epic match. The UFC unfortunately didn't get to book it. But that would have been an epic match for its time, but unfortunately they didn't do that. But yeah, man, there was so many great fights in Pride, man, that I could recollect, and I just wish that era will come back, in UFC form. But unfortunately, it's not. It's not. All time great, Dan Henderson. Yeah, Dan Henderson is definitely all time great. You know what I mean? The beating that he put on Michael Bisping, and just wasn't just phenomenal. It was crazy to watch. But Dan Henderson definitely a legend. Outweighed by Fedor by 40 pounds and knocked him out. Definitely did knock him out, and it was an odd way of it, that he knocked him out as well. Phenomenal when it comes to Dan Henderson. Who should be Aspinall next fight? That heavyweight is sad as fuck. Look, Jason Nine, that heavyweight division is in shambles. I've said it multiple times, and you know what I mean. According to Tom Aspinall, the fight is already booked. I'm hearing rumors right now that Tom Aspinall already has a match booked for the future this year. So I'm not sure who's going to be the next opponent, but in my opinion, it might be Alex Pereira, just because there's nothing exciting in that heavyweight division. So I think that UFC wants to make things a little bit more exciting in that division. So I think bringing Alex Pereira to fight Tom Aspinall is the most exciting thing that they can do. More exciting than Cyril Gahn versus Tom Aspinall. I'm just being honest with you. You could let me see. Dan Harrison to Bacula, California. For sure, man. You could see it in his face and eyes. Stone Cold Killer. Oh, you're talking about Fedor. You're talking about Fedor. Fedor was definitely a Stone Cold Killer. He definitely was. Was Don Fry versus Takayama in Pride. That was crazy. Those motherfuckers were punching each other repeatedly and did not stop. That was crazy. We love you, Dan Henderson, for sure. Rest in peace, Kevin, for sure. Rest in peace, Kevin, man, and blessings to him and his family, for sure. I agree, Mustard, but Nagano is not coming back. Jason, they need Nagano. That's what Mustard says. Look, man, Francis Ngannou is never coming back to the UFC. Dana White has, he has his panties in a bundle when it comes to Francis Ngannou. So he's definitely not coming back to the UFC. You could scratch that out of the future for sure. If they were doing Alex versus Aspinall, they should have done it before the Ank fight. I agree. I agree with you, but unfortunately, the UFC, they have to do their due diligence and making the best fight next in that heavyweight division. And in my opinion, there's nothing exciting for Tom Aspinall, honestly. For now, though, I could dig Pereira versus Volkov. Winner faces Aspinall. Well, Mustard, look, I understand what you're saying, but I think the UFC doesn't want to take a chance in Alex Pereira losing. So I think they're going to bring Alex Pereira right into a championship bout against Tom Aspinall. That's my honest opinion. I just think they don't want to give anybody a chance to beat Alex Pereira. Mark Coleman, only UFC in Proud Tournament world champion. Yeah, I mean, look, I understand what you're saying. There was a lot of great fighters that came from, Pride and came into the UFC. One in particular that I can mention is Frank Shamrock. Frank Shamrock, one of the legends in the UFC, and doesn't get the respect that he needs. He definitely fought in Pride. He was outsized by a lot of the guys that he fought, and he gave, a hell of a fight over there in Pride. And then him coming over, what did he fight in Pride, or was it? Huh? Was it that other organization? I'm not sure, but yeah, that's another guy, Frank Shamrock. Let me see. Lewis versus Fat Brazilian is the worst main event of all time. Look, that's the only fight that they can make that makes some sense. You got an up and comer in Teixeira, who they could potentially do something with him in that heavyweight division, but we shall see. We shall see. It's the only fight that makes sense. I'm telling you. Number one tournament is both. Shamrock fought way less competition than the greats. Well, oh, I mean, look, I understand what you're saying, but for the time, Frank Shamrock, that guy was an animal. He was way ahead of his time. He was way ahead of his time. He was an overall mixed martial arts fighter. He could strike with you. He could bring the fight to the ground. Great wrestling. Good Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Frank Shamrock was definitely ahead of his time, and I give that guy all due respect, to be honest with you. So I'm not going to say he was fighting lesser competition. He was just fighting the competition that was there in front of him, and he was doing very, very well. He really was. That fight lost hype after Poirier lost to Ankalaev. Yeah, unfortunately it did, but that's really the only exciting fight that the UFC can make in that heavyweight division. I could see it and maybe run back Volkov versus Cyril Gane after that robbery. Maybe Ken is not all-time great. No way. I'm not saying Ken. I'm not saying Ken Shamrock. I said Frank. Frank Shamrock, my guy. Frank Shamrock, not Ken Shamrock, guys. I'm talking about Frank Shamrock. Frank Shamrock. I'll say it one more time. Frank Shamrock, okay, was a phenomenal mixed martial arts fighter that was ahead of his time and doesn't get the respect that he needs from the MMA community. I said Frank Shamrock. Oh, Frank Shamrock is all-time great. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. My point exactly. I am not talking about I'm not talking about Ken Shamrock. I'm talking about Frank Shamrock. Go look at his record. Go look at the people that he's fought. Okay? The guys that he's fought, he literally was outweighed. All right? He was a smaller man going against higher level competition, and he's found success. When it comes to Frank Shamrock, in my opinion, he definitely should be on the Mount Rushmore. A lot of people don't even put him on the Mount Rushmore, which is crazy to me because I'm like, my guys, if we're talking about the first mixed martial arts fighter, the first mixed martial arts fighter who was an overall fighter, that's Frank Shamrock. He was literally ahead of his time. If you look at his game, he was like the best. He was GSP before GSP came. He could wrestle, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He could strike with you. He was strong, great technique, came from a great camp. I mean, Frank Shamrock is a fucking legend. Frank Shamrock first fight was against Bas Rutten. My point exactly. Bas Rutten was a son of a bitch. Bas Rutten at that time was making videos about killing people at bars. Okay? Frank, let me see some of these. Emilio Cheras, aka Frank Shamrock. Yes, I would like to see Alex take his knelt back from Ank, but I think that's just Hopian thinking. I hear you, man. Frank is all-time great. I'm telling you. I think the only time we'll fix the heavyweight division, the more active it is, the more likely a new contender will come along. Frank is greater than GSP. Man, that's a huge statement. That's a huge statement. 2.0. Imagine fighting a current world champion as your first professional fighter. Let that sink in. My point exactly. You see what I'm saying, guys? I know my fucking shit. I know my information. And when it comes to Frank Shamrock, the guy was impressive. The guy was doing things that was unheard of. Honestly. Okay? And him going against Bas Rutten, a guy that was a fucking animal at that time. Nobody wanted to fight Bas Rutten. All right? When Bas Rutten name came across your desk, you ripped away that paper and said, give me another opponent. But Frank Shamrock was like, okay, first fight, I don't care. Bring him on. Let's do it. Fought him. Fought very well against him. So, man, Frank Shamrock was an animal. And getting the life almost beat out of you and you fight to win even though you don't know how to fight. My point exactly. My point exactly, 2.0. They got to try moving some people from light heavyweight to heavyweight. I mean, guys, who's in the light heavyweight division that will be exciting to move into the heavyweight division? Please let me know. Who you going to bring? Jamal Hill? Jamal Hill is a fucking joke. Dominic Reyes needs to fight Jamal Hill and finally put the nail in the coffin in Jamal Hill and have his ass packing his bag into another organization. Okay, that's what he deserves after pulling a stunt, beating up his brother, punching his teeth down his throat over Thanksgiving dinner because the bacon wasn't cooked to his fucking liking. Okay? I'm tired of this shit. Okay? I'm tired of it. There's nobody in the light heavyweight division that's exciting to move up to the heavyweight division. There just isn't, guys. Jamal Hill is a joke. Jerry Prochazka is busy taking college courses. College courses. It's it's a debacle, guys. It's a fucking debacle. Okay. Let me see. Hi, Just Dylan. How you doing? Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the community. I really appreciate you. Like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Like maybe Jamal Hill or Racket. Somebody actually said Jamal Hill. Mustard, why did you have to say Jamal Hill? Why? I knew somebody was going to bring up Jamal Hill, and that's the reason why I said his name first. Jesus. Frank was nuts. Definitely had the heart. He had everything. Frank Shamrock had everything. The only thing he didn't have was a supportive team to help him, you know what I mean, improve his game. That's the only thing he didn't have. Should you subscribe? You should definitely subscribe. You should definitely subscribe. This is the channel, the community that you need to be in, okay? This is a channel for you, the only channel where the fans come first, not last, okay? Frank beat Dan Henderson in 1 minute, I think. I'm telling you. I feel like Jamal can cut down to 185. He's not that lean. Mars, I don't want to hear anything about Jamal Hill anymore. Guys, stop with the Jamal Hill bullshit. Even if he cuts to 185, what do you think he's going to do in that middleweight division? All right? His career is in shambles. He's on a 3 to 4 fight losing streak. All right? 3 to 4 fight losing streak in Jamal Hill. The last fight that Jamal Hill won was against his brother on Thanksgiving dinner. Okay? I'm done with Jamal. I'm done with that guy. Okay? He's one more interview away from being crash out of the year back-to-back 2024, 2025. All right? Ahead of Brendan Schaub. And that's a hard fucking decision. Okay? Didn't have that boxing. Frank beat Kevin Jackson in 1 minute also. But strong as fuck and great lungs. Even if Jamal Hill is mid below that top 10 heavyweight division, division is actually forable. Jamal Hill and Racket could at least fill those easier. Just let Jamal Hill juice up to heavyweight. Jamal Hill is the GOAT. I'm out of here, guys. I'm fucking out of here. I'm out of here. For the remainder of the stream, I'm just going to scream at my screen, and I'm not even going to be on there because you guys keep bringing up Jamal Hill. The joke in Jamal Hill is a joke, guys. All right? I don't want to see him cut weight and go into the middleweight division, okay, my guys? All right? I'm done with Jamal Hill. He can't even win the title, okay, in the light heavyweight division. 3-fight losing streak, okay? And not only that, but after he lost against Alex Pereira, the guy had so many excuses that he had to bring up Tony Ferguson and the dust. He literally said that Tony Ferguson ran into the octagon and put dust in his eyes, and that's the only reason Alex Pereira won and beat him that day, guys. What are you guys sleeping on? Are you guys joking with me? You got to be fucking with me when you're talking about Jamal Hill. It's a joke, guys. My damn sunflower right here has better combinations than Jamal Hill has. Okay? And that is fucking facts. You guys are sleeping at the wheel, man. Can't believe what Jason 9 just said, man. I almost lost my shit. The lightweights are literally saving the sport or the UFC. I agree with you, 2.0. I really do. Who is 185 champ? DDP. Right now is DDP, but soon to be Chimaev. Jamal Hill, pound for pound, #1 crash out. Thank you, Mustard. Thank you very much. He is the #1 pound for pound crash out of the year of 2024. He definitely was. He was my candidate, #1 candidate. And in 2025, he's about to be back-to-back years, pound for pound, #1 candidate for crash out of the year, guys. Who is 205 champ? Ankalaev. Ankalaev is a 205 champ. He just got done beating Alex Pereira. Okay, he actually outstruck Alex Pereira. Okay, it was an off day for Alex Pereira, and Ankalaev found success, guys. Let me see. Do you think Mokyov will ever come back? That's a good question. That's a good question, man. I'm not sure about that one. I'm really not sure about that one, to be real. The guy that I'm waiting for to come back is I wrote his name down. Hold on. Is Zabib. I'm waiting for Sabib Magomedov. I'm waiting for Sabib Magomedov to make his appearance in the UFC, and if he makes his appearance in the UFC, that division has. I'm telling you what, he's gonna shake up that division. All right, Zabib was the man. Zabib was the shit. He was undefeated in the UFC, found humongous success. He was on his way to become the champion, in my opinion. Okay, so if Zabib is able to come back and find success, that guy is gonna shake up that division fairly quickly. Who is the 170 champ? Guys, it's JDM. JDM is the 170 champ. He just, beat Bilal Muhammad in a really, really razor thin close fight. Tony hit Hill with the give me sand. Mustard my point exactly. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Jamal Hill found every excuse that you could imagine. I have no idea. Well, it's JDM. JDM is a 170-pound champ. That Sunflower wants to shoot some seeds. He definitely does. He definitely does. And let me tell you something. He could definitely shoot some seeds better than Jamal Hill can. I feel bad for Ankalaev. I feel like people are hating on him just because Alex is more entertaining, but it's not like Ankalaev isn't either. Look, Mustard, I agree with you. I like Ankalaev. I never said I dislike Ankalaev. I thought Ankalaev went in there and outclassed, the striker in Alex Pereira. So I was hugely impressed with Ankalaev and what he was able to do in that octagon against a guy in Alex Pereira. Zabib versus Yair Rodriguez would be sick. Look, guys, I don't want to see that fight. I agree with you, Mustard. Zabib versus Yair Rodriguez should have happened a long time ago, but I do not want to see that fight right now. I don't think Yair Rodriguez deserves to fight a guy like Zabib. I really don't. All right, Yair Rodriguez is over here, number 2 candidate for Crash Out of the Year, talking about that he's going to be next against Volk. That is fucking idiotic. And if the UFC books that, I mean, they're sleeping at the wheel. Okay, I think Zabib needs to come back and fight somebody, but I don't think he should fight Yair Rodriguez. That's a fight that should have happened 3 years ago. But unfortunately, Zabib ended up leaving the UFC, and unfortunately, we never got to see that fight. Zabib is done though. He doesn't even like talking about it. Look, I understand, Mars, but according to Ali, which is his manager, he tweeted something about Zabib coming back to mixed martial arts. So we shall see in the near future if Zabib actually makes his long-awaited appearance in the UFC. Okay. So I'm just going by what his manager said. That's all I'm saying. Okay. They try to get, let me see. They try to give me $500 to fight Eddie Alvarez back in the day. 2.0, are you serious? To fight Eddie Alvarez? $500 to fight a guy like Eddie Alvarez? Look, I would have fought him. I'm not going to lie. If I weighed as much as Eddie Alvarez, which you know what I do? I do weigh as much as Eddie Alvarez now. I'm upwards of 165 right now. I'm a little, I'm eating these days. I'm eating a lot. So, yeah, if somebody comes up to me right now and be like, yo, $500 to fight Eddie Alvarez, I'll be like, where, when? I'll fight him. $500? Who gives a fuck? I'm going to get my ass beat anyways. Who cares? I'm going to go out there and give it my all, and if I get knocked out, I get knocked out. Who cares? But that's awesome. That is awesome, 2.0. You should have fought him. You should have fought the shit out of him, actually. Zabib versus Diego Lopez. Man, that's an exciting fight. I like that fight, but unfortunately, Diego Lopez is fighting Gene Silva, and I think Gene Silva is going to beat Diego Lopez. So I think maybe coming off of 2 losses, back-to-back losses, Zabib fighting Diego Lopez, I think that would be a good fight. Why not? Isn't Volk versus Yair Rodriguez official? Mars, I'm not sure if it's official. Nobody said anything about Yair Rodriguez and Volk being official. All right, when you go on UFC.com, I don't see it. So if it's not placed on UFC.com, it's definitely not official just yet. So let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that fight is not official and that fight isn't happening. Okay. Let me see who you got. Chimaev versus Dricus. Guys, I like DDP. I already said this numerous times. DDP is the 2.0 version of Keith Jardine. That is fucking factual. If you guys haven't been watching UFC for as long as I have been watching UFC, then you have no idea who Keith Jardine is. But go watch who Keith Jardine is and tell me he doesn't look exactly like DDP. Okay, DDP, he's a great fighter. All right, but he is a 2.0 version of Keith Jardine, which is kind of confusing when you watch it because you're like, wait a minute, he's losing the fight, but then all of a sudden he fumbles himself into a win. So if I had to give it to somebody, I'm sorry, I'm giving it to Chimaev because did you see what Chimaev was able to do to Robert Whittaker, the Reaper of that division? I'm giving it to Chimaev. All day, every day, twice on Sunday. I said hell no, 2,500 minimum, and they said no. That's fucked up. 2,500. That's not even that much. What the fuck? Especially to fight a person like Eddie Alvarez. They're fucking nuts. What the fuck are they talking about? $500 isn't enough. That's not gonna cover the fucking, you know what I mean, the hospital expenses after I fight Eddie Alvarez. Are you out of your mind? Eddie Alvarez is guaranteed to at least make me bleed. All right. So I'm not gonna. You crazy? Those fucking people are nuts. $500 to fight a person like Eddie Alvarez, who's guaranteed to make me bleed and bring me to a fucking hard ass fight. You're out of your mind. 2,500 is still not enough. Fucking out of these people are out of control. Fucking lowballing mixed martial arts fighters. Exactly what the UFC is known to do. Let me see. Let me read some of these comments, or maybe even Zabit versus Josh Emmett. Wow, that's a good one. I like to see that. Why not? I like to see that Josh Emmett versus Sabib, a fight that we've never seen before. Go ahead, book it. I'm down. Elo Adriquez by Plot Armor. Whoa, they move similar. Keith Jardine was a huge overachiever. I'm telling you right now. But tell me not. Tell me when you look at Duplessis, when you look at DDP, he doesn't look like Keith Jardine a little bit. I mean, a lot of it. They offer 500, but they offer 500, but you said yes. That's my point. Lose an eye. My point exactly. For real. I don't know how we beat this shit out of Strickland, because for me, he didn't win the first fight, but who knows? Jason 9, I agree with you. Plot Armor. Chimaev has the advantage early, but he'll struggle with Dricus if it gets into the championship rounds. Guys, I don't know why people don't have faith in Chimaev's stamina. I really don't. I mean, he was able to go 3 rounds with Gilbert Burns. He was able to go 3 rounds with Kamaru Usman. So what makes you think he can't go 5 hard rounds with DDP? I think Chimaev, I have faith. I have all the faith in Chimaev. I think he's going to come into this fight prepared, and I am not afraid of, Chimaev going into the later rounds. I'm just not. Hey, yo, what's up, gang? What's going on, Dean? What is going on, Dean? Making your appearance back to back in one day. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, man. It was a small Jersey show. Big Dan Margarita was involved. Really? Oh, shit. I didn't even know that. I had no idea. Shit. Dan was I didn't know he was into booking fights. I had no idea. I literally didn't. Holy shit. I think if Dricus gets past the first or second round, Chimaev is cooked. Mustard, you guys are cooked for even thinking that. Are you out of your mind? Are you crazy? I don't know what to say to that. I'm betting the house on Dricus. Look, if you're betting the house, I think you shouldn't. All right, I think you should revoke that bet. Okay, because you're about to be homeless if you're betting your house. All right, guaranteed. Okay, so take that bet back, man. All right, soon you're not gonna have a roof over your head. I'm just playing with you, Mustard. I'm playing. They ended up fighting in another show. I was the only knockout of the night. KO my opponent 3x in 99 seconds. Damn, that's what's up, 2.0. Congratulations to you. Thank you for being on my chat. I really appreciate you. A guy like you who's actually a mixed martial arts fighter, who's out there, that was going to fight guys like, Eddie Alvarez. I appreciate you being on my chat. I really do, man. And this community really appreciates you, man. Real talk. This is serious, what I'm telling you. Awesome, man. Hey, I believe you. I'm not saying I don't believe you. That's why I'm communicating with you on this level. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to question anything you're saying. You know what I mean? If you're saying that that's what happened, I believe you, man. You know what I mean? Cold-heartedly. So what I have to say about that is that's crazy, man. Like I said, I would have never taken that deal with Eddie Alvarez for $500. They're out of their fucking minds. Dan was an underground pioneer in New Jersey MMA. Oh yeah, he was. I knew about Dan back in the day, man. I knew about Dan back in the day when I was competing in Muay Thai back in the day when I was 19 years old and I was competing. I heard about Dan. I really did. I heard about his events. You know what I mean? But I didn't know that he was so indulged in actually booking like fighters. I didn't know that. I had no idea. Jikas has an insane gas tank. Look, he does. He does have an insane gas tank. I do agree with you, but I don't see him winning this fight, guys. I really don't. When NYS politicians were banning UFC, Dan was throwing many underground shows. Was he really? Shit. That's most likely why I ended up hearing about his shows, because at this time I remember shows were happening and they were happening illegally. I remember wholeheartedly. So that might have, I mean, one of the multitude of shows that I heard about and that I most likely went to was most likely, sponsored by Dan. I just never knew. I literally just never knew. I literally just never knew. I was clueless back in the day, to be honest. Let me see. DDP versus Chimaev is a hard call, though. There's no obvious outcome. Mars, there's an obvious outcome. All right. And I already told you what that outcome is. All right. And unfortunately, you're just not agreeing with me. And that's okay. All right. We agree to disagree. All right. But I think Chimaev wins that fight and he wins it. That's it. Let me see. Let me see. In New Jersey, my fights were in the master copy, and my fights, Dan had them and they burned. In the fire. He did everything: promote, train, book, ref. His fights were called I Forgot It. Do you think the UFC will end up as badly as boxing? It's definitely headed towards that trajectory. All right, it's definitely headed towards that trajectory. I read a stat actually that the UFC, well, not UFC, mixed martial arts in general is headed towards a downward spiral, and the reason why is because 5 to 8 years ago, there was more mixed martial arts events happening worldwide. Okay, and that percentage. So let's say I believe the numbers. Don't quote me on these numbers, but I'm gonna give you the numbers from the top of my head after reading this article. But I believe there was around the world. Let's say there was probably like 6,000 events in 1 year happening around the world for mixed martial arts, right? Well, right now, the numbers have dropped dramatically, less than half. There's only been about 2,700 mixed martial arts events worldwide this year and last year. So the progression of mixed martial arts isn't there anymore. There's less events. There's the fighters that the UFC and these big promotions are fighting are signing, excuse me, they're really subpar. If you really look at these fighters, they're not overall mixed martial arts fighters. A lot of these fighters are like, striking, heavy on striking, or another fighter will be heavy on ground game. Like it's been really hard to find an overall mixed martial arts fighter where his game is overall. You know what I mean? And because of it, the UFC and mixed martial arts in general is suffering, especially that they're not holding just as many as events as they used to. So we're definitely headed towards a downhill spiral, especially when you look at these cards and the way they're built. I mean, it's very top heavy, especially with the co-main event and the main event being the fights that everybody's waiting for, and then every other fight in the prelims and the early prelims. I mean, you hardly know anybody's name. All right, so good question, and if they keep going the way they're going, is going to be worse than boxing, in my opinion. Let me read some of these comments. MAGA or something like that. Bama Fight Nights. Bama Fight Nights. Holy shit! I think I fucking heard of that. That's crazy. I think I went to an event. I think I went to an event. I think I went to one of Dan's events. I'm not fucking around. I think I went to one of Dan's events, and I'm not even lying. One of the posters I remember it's being something like AMA, and I don't know if it was Bama, but I remember seeing it. I remember it. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. Holy shit! What a small world. Bama Fight Night of a few UFC fighter fought in it. That's crazy. Dan's karate school was called Bayside Academy of Martial Arts, I believe. That's crazy. Dan's out here. He was doing his thing, man. That's crazy. And why are Dana White and Rogan pushing boxing? Because they are part of that community now. They're part of that community now, and Dana White and Joe Rogan are both checked out of the UFC, and now they're looking for other platforms. You know what I mean, to be a part of. Point blank. What do you mean pushing boxing? Well, they're definitely mentioning boxing more often. You know what I mean? Dan shows was Bama fight night. Dana is promoting the Canelo fight, and Joe Rogan is doing ads for the night for the fight. That's crazy. Boxing today is it is shame. It's literally sad. The fights that sell the most are those of influencers. Boxing is sad today. Jason 9, I could not disagree with you. I could not disagree with you. It's a shit show when it comes to the boxing community. It really is. I mean, Jake Paul has made the boxing community a fucking joke. A fucking joke. Yes, it was Bama Fight Night. If you went to the Bama Fight Night 16, you saw me. I fought there. Yo, I'm not gonna lie. 2.0. I think I went to a multitude of events of Dan's. Now that you're mentioning it, and now that you're being more specific with what the events were called, I most likely went to the event. I'm not even gonna lie. I most likely I probably saw you. I probably saw you in one of these events. We probably bumped into each other and we never even knew each other. You know what I mean? Honestly, it's crazy. It's crazy. What a small world. Uh, it it may have been banned in New Jersey, and we would still get 500 people in the gym. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, I went to a lot of these events. My own event, the event that I fought in, it was a multitude of different type of events. So I fought in Muay Thai, that specific event, and there was two, there was like maybe two or three Muay Thai fights, and then there was the rest was like mixed martial arts, and then I believe there was like one kickboxing fight. But it was mostly like that, man. I mean, those gyms were become they'll stack these gyms with like 300, 400 people. It will be stacked. People will be standing just to watch these events, man. So I remember back in the day, bro. I really do. Many were held in Plainfield, New Jersey. I only went to four. Huh? Plainfield, New Jersey. You see what I'm saying? I definitely went to this event. 2.0, I definitely went to a few events of his. That's guaranteed. That's crazy. Bro, Armin versus Ilya is almost confirmed. I hope so because that's the fight they need to make. I'm really hoping, like I said in my past videos, Paddy the Baddy does not get his chance against Ilya Taporia before Armin. Point blank. Period. They banned it. Why the hell? What the hell? What did they ban, Jason 9? What are you talking about? If anyone here remembers when Skinny Leopard, the black kid from Jersey, beat up the huge Trinidadian Hulk from Long Beach and knocked him out. The last event was in 2004, I think. Yep. Yep. I went to this event. I went to these events, bruh. Guaranteed I went to these events. That is awesome. I didn't know that Dan was in charge of these events. I didn't know anything about that. That is good to hear, man. Respect to him and his team and his family, man. Blessings, guys. Blessings to him, man. He done some great things, man. I've been to many different events, and I believe I went to one of his events. And let me tell you something. It was exciting. The guy could put on a card. I could tell you that much. He was there almost every time. I know that. I'm pretty sure I went to his events. I seen him. My gym that I was affiliated with was most likely affiliated with his gyms, and we probably had some of our fighters fighting that night as well. Who do you think will win between Armin versus Ilya? Personally, I think Armin will win because he has a better wrestling and he is very bigger and muscular than Oliveira. He also does good ground and pound. I could not disagree with you, Combat. I could not disagree with you. I agree with you. I think Armin takes the fight. He's the bigger guy. He has a great overall game. You saw his fight against Islam early in his career, and he has developed. You know what I mean? Since then, so I definitely think Armin takes that fight. Big Dan was the MMA New Jersey what Muhammad Ali is to boxing. That's crazy, man. Especially back in the day. I mean, you know, to hold those events, you have to have huge nut sacks because you can get raided real quick. Alexis is back on the chat, man. Welcome back to the chat, Alexis. Thank you. Like and subscribe, guys, if you are new to the channel. The only channel where the fans come first, not last. Thank you for supporting independent MMA media, guys. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys. Really, really do. Mars, but remember Armin struggled against Oliveira and almost got submitted, unlike Taporia. I understand that. I understand that. But unlike Topuria was fighting a lesser opponent in Charles Oliveira. By the time Ilia Topuria fought Charles Oliveira, he was a lesser fighter. When Charles Oliveira fought Arman, that was Charles Oliveira in his prime. Okay, so in my opinion, I don't see that weighing out. You know what I mean? The same. LOL rated yes. It was weird because almost all his shows had a cop. That's crazy. I'm telling you, he had the town's love. New Jersey respected Dan, man. That's what's up. Or unless it was a rent or cop. Nah, he had one time guarding the shows. That is awesome, man. That is good to know, man. That is awesome to know. Guys, like and subscribe if you are new to the channel. All right, I'm out of here, guys. It's been great bantering with every single one of you. When it comes to, Bonito 2.0, thank you for coming on the chat. When it comes to Mars making his 3-time appearance this week, that got to be a record. Jason 9, I really appreciate it. Thank you for being here on this chat. And Combat, thank you for your awesome questions. I really appreciate you as well, man. And when it goes to everybody else, thank you for you guys. You know what I mean? This channel is is slowly but surely building momentum. And I can't thank you guys enough, man, because this community is yours. And you guys are building this community, this community to be something special, man. And like I always say, the only channel where the fans come first, not last. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. You guys have a great night. I'm out of here. One love. Peace. Until next time, y'all. Y'all be good.